as Zhang Yi gets a brief assessment on the current status of the other bases. He couldn't help but comment on how the other forces are retreating steadily in the face of the zombie tide, with more and more casualties at that. Most of the people are already dead, or even close to the edge of collapsing. And although their sect are of a significant number than the rest, if things go on as it is, then the snow worship sect will outlast everyone due to their staggering number of followers. But their current problem at hand was the constant complaints among their followers in the congregation. Hearing Zhang Yixian's assessment of the situation, his fellow member of the sect seems to have caught on how to deal with their situation. And it's a good idea, he said. If they make the people realize how fortunate they've been compared to the other bases, then the complaints will cease. There is no harm without contrast. As long as they think that there are corpses everywhere outside, they will feel that their current life is not bad. Then there will be no complaints against our snow worship sect. Zhang Yixian also points out that the reason why the people are still complaining is because they are not pious enough to the snow worship sect. Their education must also be accelerated to make them devout believers. In this way, they will understand that they were lucky to be able to join the snow worship sect at this time. Hearing this, his fellow believer was enthusiastic about this prospect, and as he praises Zhang Yixian for his sudden enlightenment, he replied that he understands the task and will arrange for someone to do it right away. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi and his group had set off to Xitu City the very next day. So as they reached their destination and approached the giant hole that leads to the underground Xitu subway station, Zhang Yi reminds everyone that killing the Corpse King is their primary goal this time around. As long as they can find it, Zhang Yi was 100% certain he would be able to kill it. However, everything will be based on their personal safety. Zhang Yi proceeds to warn everyone. Don't go overboard and fight the zombies. No matter how many of those things you kill, there's no point. Uncle Yu, Chunlei, and Liang Yu all nodded in understanding. Everyone except Flower had a gas mask on for protection. Zhang Yi tossed a glowing stick down the pit and told Uncle Yu to go first, who had no objection with it. With ease, Uncle Yu made his way down the pit, surfing on the ice with just his boots. And as he made it to the end without any difficulty, Uncle Yu immediately took a look around. Seeing no one around, he gave the go-ahead for the rest to descend as there are no enemies nearby. The rest joined him soon after, and they also took a look around. Everything was as expected, similar to the expectation of what a zombie's lair looks like. There was a stench of rotten human flesh and blood stains were everywhere. Zhang Yi raised his submachine gun and gave the order to move forward. But after a few steps, they spotted a remains of a person, and from the looks of it, the person was like a couple of flesh away from having only the skeleton as his remains. Seeing this, Zhang Yi commented that it seems that the instinct of zombies is only to eat, and cannot infect corpses that turn into bones. Frightened, Chunlei added that the zombies have a big appetite. After all, judging from the way they move, they must have a need to eat a lot. He then remembered what Zhang Yi told him earlier and questioned. Hey Zhang Yi, you said there are more dead people than living people in Tianhai City. If there are more than 10 million zombies, wouldn't there be nothing to eat? This sudden realization made everyone halt their advances. Zhang Yi thought that Chunlei had a point. A good one at that. What will those zombies do if they don't get enough food? Will these zombies spread from Tianhai City to other cities? They all suddenly made a mad dash forward, realizing the need to finish their task as fast as possible. Hopefully, without any hiccup of course. Zhang Yi told Chunlei that it was none of their business. Anyway, now they just need to make sure there are no zombies around the shelter. And to this, Chunlei agreed with his reasoning. Suddenly, Flower started growling as he stares ahead, alerting everyone of a definite danger. Everyone got into a defensive stance as a dark streak dashed by. The movement was so fast, making it impossible to spot without paying attention. The underground Xitu subway station was not just the lair for only the undead, but also had many unknown mutated creatures residing there as well. At that moment, Liang Yu, being the first to take action, swiftly pulls a dagger and throws it with such accuracy, piercing the intended target squarely in the belly. The creature died instantly, falling to the ground. Seeing this, Zhang Yi approached the dead creature for a closer look, and upon inspection he was shocked to his core. His expression under the mask, highlighting his disbelief. This is a rat. A rat that's bigger than the size of a cat. After getting over his initial shock, Zhang Yi commented that finding a mutated rat in this sort of places was not surprising now that he thinks about it. And from the looks of it, the corpses we encountered earlier seems to have been all eaten by rats. Zhang Yi said this as he turns his head slightly towards Chunlei, addressing the point he made before. Hearing this, Chunlei agreed, but the issue now was that there are so many corpses which they encountered. And judging from that, there must also be a group of rats nearby. Immediately upon saying this, A loud and familiar squeaks could be heard ahead of them. It seems that we've really entered a rat's nest. Soon, a mischief of rats were approaching them in full force. As Zhang Yi strapped himself with a flamethrower, he felt a wave of disgust with what he saw. So without any hesitation, he ordered everyone to wipe them out. If these rats were eager to meet the Rat King of Hell, then who were they to refuse them? Uncle Yu and Chunlei also strapped themselves with a flamethrower. Then collectively with Zhang Yi, they release a massive sea of flames, setting the mutated rat ablaze. Their squeaking sounds and the smell of burning flesh filled the air. However, the wave seemed endless, and another mischief of rats started approaching them from the other direction. Seeing this, Zhang Yi told Uncle Yu and Chunlei to halt their actions and put away the flamethrowers. Putting the flamethrowers back in his alternate space, he thought that if the situation continues, then he doesn't know when it will be resolved. And not to mention, they haven't even began to look for the Corpse King, which was their primary objective. Realizing this, Zhang Yi activated his ability and opened a double door. With his alternate space opened at both ends, the clueless and unintelligent mutated rats just continued to enter the portal non-stop. Seeing this made Liang Yu curious about something, so she directly asked Zhang Yi, "Has your dimensional gate been upgraded?" Hearing this, Zhang Yi neither confirmed nor denied anything, but simply said he's been studying the use of his dimensional gates for a while now. And after the last war, he found out that he was able to use two dimensional gates at the same time. Given their situation, Liang Yu replied that it was quite convenient. Soon after, the rat assault was immediately dealt with, and the team were on the run again with Flower leading the way. Zhang Yi wondered if the zombies would be alerted if the rats had made a fuss. This made Liang Yu question Zhang Yi whether the rats and zombies have some sort of relationship since they're both located underground. Who knows? Let's just keep going. Zhang Yi said this as a form of a reply, and seconds later, they found what they were searching for. Ahead of them were the horde of zombies, who seemed to have not heard them approach. Seeing this, Uncle Yu was quickly strapped with a flamethrower, and as the team gradually made their silent approach towards the zombies, Uncle Yu, with a puzzled look, noticed that the zombies were asleep, which seems odd from his perspective. But Zhang Yi replied him, saying the zombies' actions made perfect sense. Even as a host of a virus, action requires energy, so when they don't get orders, they lurk and rest in the dark. Hearing this, Uncle Yu inquired whether Zhang Yi wants to burn them all in this state. Zhang Yi didn't give an answer immediately, but was in thoughts. He remembered what Zhokir said to him earlier. Before their departure, Zhokir informed Zhang Yi that the zombies retain part of their biological nature. Strictly speaking, they were more like a swarm of insects. In this case, they also need to rest. It would be great if they could sleep like this forever, but that's just wishful thinking. At that moment, a zombie at the end of the row noticed their presence. And when he did, his closed eyes immediately opened wide, and like a hived mind. All the zombies did the same immediately after. Then, they all turned their heads towards the team, their eyes emitting a red glow as their expressions were full of killing intent. They quickly made their way towards them in an instant, but Zhang Yi was quick to act also. He opened his portal to his alternate space, silently confirming that, sure enough, it wasn't going to be easy to get past the zombies without burning them. This was the reason why he didn't answer Uncle Yu immediately. But now, the situation had gotten more troublesome, and they're left with no choice. On the other end, the zombies, same as earlier, came to an abrupt stop when they saw the portal. They halted any sort of advances, but soon after, the zombies collectively shouted Zhang Yi's name. And although their disgruntled voice made Zhang Yi's name sound different, it was obvious who they were referring to. This also meant their puppet master, the Corpse King, had discovered them. Without a second thought, Zhang Yi ordered for them to be burnt. He also took out another flamethrower and strapped Chunlei with it. With the two safely geared up, Zhang Yi closed the portal, and what followed after was a massive sea of flames so intense that the zombies stood no chance in surviving. Not that they did to begin with. This made them change their course of action, opting to make a wise retreat as fast as their frozen legs could take them. Seeing this, Zhang Yi knew that the Corpse King is not far from their current location, so he told everyone to chase after them. The team immediately did just that as they chased the zombies with Uncle Yu and Chunlei leading the charge at full speed. Their run was also never a hindrance as they continued to release the intense flames ahead. Zhang Yi also kept his dimensional gate open, blocking any attack ahead of them in the tunnel. At that moment, Liang Yu heard noises behind them, and as she looked back, she noticed that the remaining giant rats were still staring at them from behind. Zhang Yi told her to ignore them for the time being. They needed to find the location of the Corpse King as soon as possible and kill it to avoid future troubles. The small fries could wait. The tunnel was not closed. The Corpse King might have escaped while they were trapped here, but seeing the number of zombies ahead of them reducing, Zhang Yi told everyone to speed up their pace. Meanwhile, at another unknown location in the subway station, the Flame Fist of Radiant Prosperity Base, Dong Hu and his team sent to the zombies' lair earlier to investigate were also attacked by the mutated rats. With a loud boom, Dong Hu dispatched a couple of the mutated rats with his flaming fist to meet their maker. Soon after, they were able to successfully deal with them. Dong Hu immediately gave the order to move on. After all, their goal is to find the corpse group and obtain information about them. Until then, no matter what difficulties we encounter, we must overcome them. Dong Hu said this with a serious expression, intending to finish this mission to the very end.